Our own children, here in America, are forced into slavery. A slavery of a different kind. It is referred to as brainwashing. In the government's point of view, in order to brainwash a child, they must first control their opinions. Once they control their opinions, they will then control their minds. Once this is fully achieved, the government will then control our bodies. There are many tools in which the government has at its disposal in order to accomplish their brainwashing propagandas. For example, a primary tool that the government uses to brainwash us at an early age is referred to as public schooling. Public schools are a government-based institution. Public schooling teaches what the government deems appropriate to meet the government's criteria in keeping the masses ignorant, confused, and distracted away from the realms of higher thought, wholesome self-awareness, and the golden ratio of divine truth. The government's way of standard teaching is called conventionalism. Any creative thinking that excels beyond the conventional standard is labeled a nonconformist. Nonconformists are subject to humiliation. The government keeps us in control by the implementation of keeping us sick. They poison our air with chemtrails, and they poison our water with fluoride. When the government is questioned about the fluoride, they claim that the fluoride prevents tooth decay. That is very odd, because a lot of cow dung is going on in the world. Since when does the government care so much about our teeth? Here are a few examples regarding the government's success in brainwashing us. Firstly, we are brainwashed into believing that we live in a free country. It is now time to remove this illusionary concept from out of the depths of your inquisitive mind. There is no freedom in this country without money. And very few things in our country are free. You may remember the historical account of the American Revolutionary War. It was sparked by the exasperation of the British Empire's overtaxing the colonists. When the colonists won the war, the crazy overtaxing eventually resumed. Nothing had really changed then, and it hasn't changed now. The point is this: imagine you are old, and dying very slowly in your bed. Within time, you will notice that you have to pay property tax. How can you die in peace on your own land if you have to pay a contiguous yearly tax for it? That right there exposes the truth. There is no freedom. You do not own your home nor your land. It is owned by state and federal government criminal factions whom will gladly rent your home and property to you on the basis that you buy it first, in the scope of a 30-year mortgage. That is what that really is. That's it, and that's all. In argument, people have told me many times that property tax pays for public schooling and bus transportation. Such an argument is another example of the brainwashed soul. You can tax anything. Anything can be taxed. But to impose such a premium upon the welfare of our principal being is nothing more than a perverted ideology, and an insult to the concept of freedom. Further in argument, people have told me that paying property tax is the law. Once again, such an argument is another example of the brainwashed soul. Let us recall, for a moment, the Hitler atrocity. As Hitler's war machine acquired Lebensraum, the children of Yahweh were being cruelly sacrificed by the blood of the imposing influence and duration of the Second World War. In other words, according to German Nazi mandates, it was against the law to be a Jew. That having been said, what other laws are there in the world that process in the way of common sense? Another one of many methods the government takes advantage of is the mastery of confusion by the use of a zombie-like organization, otherwise known as the media. Our elections are nothing more than a great illusion. The fact is that our country is on the verge of a totally open dictatorship. For example, the war that occurred in Georgia was nothing more than a training exercise for when the time arrives to implement further subjugation upon all of us Americans, here within our own backyards.
It's due to the U.S. training program given to Georgian riot police that they managed to do what they did. This year, Georgia received over $10 million, more than any other CIS state. Georgian police supplied modern anti-riot machines and up-to-date methods of fighting demonstrators. On Wednesday, the world witnessed violent clashes in Tbilisi, which sparked much condemnation for the brutal methods used by the police. Georgian policemen and special forces were cruelly beating protesters with fists and batons. At the receiving end of the blows were mostly unarmed people.
What does all this have to do with the 1947 Roswell incident? The rich and powerful are in contact with extraterrestrials. The technologies acquired from alien technologies would render our planet into an illustrious haven. However, the rich and powerful cannot be rich and powerful if these technologies are bestowed upon the world for the betterment of mankind. It is well known by informed ufologists that there are bases on the Moon, and on Mars, and upon other bodies within our solar system. Powerful, wealthy people have been, and are, developing alternate societies within our solar system. These planetary bases are cities populated by many people from all different walks of life, including extraterrestrials. Over 1 million children are missing each year worldwide, many of which are abducted from our planet for reasons of which are speculative. Our government has technologies far in advancement of what we are accustomed to experiencing, and therefore, beyond our comprehension. Earth-based supplies are constantly being shipped from Earth to these cities on the Moon and on Mars by the use of anti-gravity spacecraft technologies. All shipments of supplies are paid for by slave-driven, hard-working Americans. These people dwell within these colonized sites every day with technologies that extend the human lifespan to an extent unknown, but rumored significant. They are privileged societies which never have to really work, which exemplifies why they have no regard for a monetary unit. They explore outer space on a daily solar basis, and partake in the enjoyment of every science you can imagine, all of which is at our expense. We pay for it. The Conurbation conspiracy are secret planetary societies that enjoy a way of life that is fulfilling in a way unimaginable to us, and can only continue to exist in this way of life by the use of slaves, otherwise known as containers, which is what we on Earth really are. We are contained on Earth as slaves to work and to be overtaxed to meet the requirements necessary for these planetary societies to carry on with the real American dream. They enjoy the freedom that we have all been led to believe that we enjoy. And in order for us to willingly work and suffer in a deprived, confined world of death and illusions, our government keeps us in the dark, keeps us ill, keeps us in fear, ultimately concealing the truth from us. We are nothing more than pet slaves for the rich and powerful to use and own us until we finally die.